Hello, everyone, and welcome to another TalentLMS webinar. Today's session is all about your users and how to bring your people to TalentLMS. We'll see the different ways to create your users database, and we'll also discuss the different user types you can assign to those users. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. My name is Eirini, and I'm a senior customer education specialist, and I will be hosting this session live alongside with my good colleague, Theo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Theo. I'm an education community trainer, and I'm here to share this webinar with Eirini and show you all about users in TalentLMS.
And since we made the proper introductions, let's see what we've got for you today. So let's check on our agenda. So as we mentioned at the beginning, today's topic is how to bring your people to the platform. So we'll see the different sign-up methods through the portal. That is how we can add users manually and how users can self-register. We'll also check how social media and SSO can help us with these tasks too. And we'll continue discussing the user types, how we can customize them and assign them to our users. And we'll also share some tips and tricks on how to make your database as effective as possible at the end of our presentation. Of course, a live Q&A will follow, like we do in every webinar. And it's really important to mention here that we have a strong team led by Mary behind the scenes that will answer most of your questions through the session. So feel free to share your questions by using the meeting control buttons that appear on the screen. And last but not least, this webinar is recorded, so you can rewatch it or share it with anyone who might be interested. Just keep an eye on your email account and you will receive an email from our team with a recording the next day. So let's get into it. In TalentLMS, we have three default user types: the administrator, the instructor, and the learner. The administrators are responsible for every aspect of the system. They have access to all the system courses. They can add and edit users, create categories and branches, and of course, configure the system settings in general. The instructors manage the courses they have permission to, and only these courses. They can add content and users to them. They can also grade assignments and instructor-led training sessions related to those courses specifically. And lastly, the learners who can enjoy the courses. Now, with that said, I'm going to share my screen and jump into the platform so we can see together how we can add users into our platform. So I'm already logged in as an administrator because, as we said, the administrators are the people responsible for the user base and the user management in general. So what we need to do is head here to the account and settings and click users. And from this tab, we will see the sign up method field. Now we have two different sign up methods, the direct and the manual. With the manual option, our admins can add users in the system, and also admins are the people responsible for sharing the credentials with the users. With the direct method, though, you can allow users to sign up to your platform on their own. Users will be able to click on the sign up link from the login page and then fill in the information to create their accounts. And once you select the sign up direct method, a user verification field will show up with a drop-down menu where you can select different ways for your users to validate their accounts. So we have different options like CAPTCHA, where users can verify that they're humans and not robots. I believe that you all had to select the images of traffic lights at some point in your life. Email verification, where users will verify their email address before they access the portal. And also admin activation, where admins receive an email with the user's details and an activation link. The account will be activated once the admin clicks on that link, and then the user will receive an email that the account is set and may access the portal. Or if you want to, it could be a combination of CAPTCHA and email verification or CAPTCHA and admin activation. Now, we're going to select the direct method, of course, and the email verification, and I'm going to save. And in fact, I have another browser open with my portal's URL so we can see together how our users can create their accounts. So I'm going to bring that forward. And as you can see here on the top, I have the sign up button because I'm going to self-register. And on the next page, I need to fill in my details. So I'm going to log in as Nick Jonas. Oops, sorry. This should be here on the last name. Caps lock sometimes happens. Jonas. I'm going to give the email address. So it's going to be jonas@email.com. Of course, I'm using a fake account. I don't want to spam anybody. The username, it's going to be njonas, something really simple. And of course, my password. I'm going to skip those custom user fields and I'm going to click create account. Oops, registration is not allowed for emails of this domain. Okay, let's try with another one. Maybe we have added some restrictions here. Let's use this. I think I know what the deal here is. Maybe we have added some restrictions and we haven't removed that. So let me check that really quick. Can you please, Theo, check for me? And let me know when we're ready to try again.
Let's have a look. But in the meantime, let me just check if we have any options.
In the meantime,
here.
Okay. And in the meantime, until Theo gets into that, once you create the account, basically your user will receive an email that will look like this, where they are welcome to TalentLMS webinars at this point, because I'm signing into our own platform, a welcome message and a link where the user can click on it to confirm the account. So that will look like this for the users.
I think we're ready to go. Let's give it another shot.
Okay, let's try one more time. Create account, and that's it. So you get the successful message that you will now receive an email requesting your confirmation. And of course, the confirmation will look like with the template I just showed you before. So we checked how we can self-register. Now it's time for us to see how users can add, how admins can add users in the system. But for this, I'm going to need Theo's help one more time. So Theo, can you please show us how we can do that?
Yes, I definitely can. And let me share my screen. And let's all just hope that nobody's playing with my account, because of course this is a test environment and sometimes we do experiments. So what you witnessed before was somebody playing while we are doing the webinar live, but it is part of the testing process. It is part of improving TalentLMS. So bear with me and let's see how we can add a user when hopefully nobody's touching my account. So let's go to add users one by one. And this is how we can add just a couple of users. I mean, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Of course, you can keep adding, but there's also a way to add users massively. Let's add a user one by one. I click on add user, and all I have to do is fill in the details of the user, the first name, the last name, the email address, and the username. Exactly what Eirini did before, but of course, this time you do it within the portal and you register a user on their behalf. So you add the first name, last name, email, and username as the mandatory fields. And of course, you can carry on editing their profile until you click on add user and that user is saved in your account. This is, again, the way to add users one by one. But let me show you something. Let me show you how you can save time just by doing a mass user import. As an admin, you go to the import/export field and especially click on import. From there, all you have to do is be really good at copying and pasting. And I'm sure that this is something that we all do daily. So let's download the sample Excel file and open it up together. And the sample Excel file is just a template. It is a template that will help you to pick the right data from your database, just have the correct information for the users, put them in the Excel file, and then do the import. So if I make this a little bit larger here so we can all read comfortably, what you will see is that we have a users tab, which is the one that we want to use right now, courses, branches, groups, categories, and more that we don't really need to use on the spot. So I'm going to right click and delete anything that is not related to just adding users. So I'm going to remove all of those. And the reason why I'm doing that as we speak is because I want to show you how easy it is. It is very quick to add users massively in Talent LMS, and the time that it will take me, I'm sure it will take for you as well, as long as you already have the data that you need to use. So you have a CRM, you have a database, you have a list of the people that you want to add. So you go to the users and you have the username field, first name, last name, email. The bio is just an extra step that you can add, an extra field that you can populate on their profile. But to be fair, I'm not going to do it today. So right click, delete, and I'm going to focus on the necessary parts only. Let's remove what we already have here and let's paste some people. And you might already recognize some of them, right? So let's save the file and I'm going to export to Excel. Let's just call that import. So I'm going to just call it import 2023 and then just export on my desktop. Now, what we need to do is locate the file. So this is my desktop and I'm just going to drag and drop it, throw it in here. And you see now that the upload is complete. Not there yet, just click the import button. And you see now that everybody is imported successfully. But how do you really know that they are here? I mean, you can read it, but can you see it? Let me show you a quick trick here. Let's go back to the home page. And of course, you can always just click on the logo to go back to the home dashboard. And if we go on the users, this is where we can actually go to the registration column, click on it, and you'll see that you will see them from the recently added to the not recently added. So here we go. You recognize them, and this is my Hollywood Star of Fame in the users list added by import just a few moments ago. I hope that helps, and I hope that this tip will actually show you how quick and easy it is to do an import if you have the data that you need in front of you. Eirini, what else can we do with users?
Let's see. So apart from the direct and manual sign-up methods and the import functionality, of course, that Theo just showed us, we also have more alternatives on creating our user database. So let's see what else we got. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Again, I am in the admin's dashboard. And again, I'm going to click users under the account and settings. So what else we can do? We can allow users to sign up directly with our social media, with their social media. So if we click here, social options, and check on the allow signups through social media, we can select which are the social media that we would like our users to log in to sign up into our system. So I'm just gonna check the LinkedIn. I'm going to remove the Facebook and leave the Google. So once I do that and click save, on the sign up page, there will be a link that will allow users to sign up from the social media that I just selected here. But as technology continues to evolve, managing multiple usernames and passwords for various applications can become overwhelming and time consuming. That's why single sign-on is also available in Talent LMS. Single sign-on, or SSO, is a method of authentication that allows you to access multiple applications or services with just one set of login credentials. Click on the SSO, which is located here, and from the drop-down menu here, you can select the integration type. For each of those types, we will post the respective articles from our knowledge base where you can find out more details and step-by-step guides. By using SSO, admins can simplify the login process for their users, reduce the risk of password-related security incidents, and improve overall user experience. And of course, when users are created using single sign-on, sign-up methods and email domain restrictions are not enforced. And something that we should also note here is that the username and email of the users should be exactly the same as the one they use in the IDP providers. Otherwise, the login is not possible. So I see that Theo has posted the articles about the SSO. So I'm going to get back to him and ask if there are any more ideas of how we can bring our people in Talent LMS.
Well, good question. And yes, there are more ways that you can bring your users in Talent LMS. Let me share my screen and let's see a couple of them together. So what we're going to focus right now is the different integrations that you can have with TalentLMS. And TalentLMS is a tool that really works well with your systems and really works well with any tool that you want to have for your HRIS or maybe your CRM and generally your database. In fact, the integrations are built in a way that no more duplicating effort is required from your end. So let's see how we can start integrating, for example, HRIS. As an admin, of course, the admin takes the decisions and pushes the buttons for the integration. Let's go to the account settings and let's stay on the basic settings page, but scroll all the way to the very, very end. What we want to focus on is the Bamboo HR integration. Bamboo HR is a very popular HRIS platform, and with TalentLMS, you can sync employee data and get the entire full employee profile instantly from one platform to another. In fact, your employees can see their courses in Bamboo HR and they can see what assigned training they have, what completed training they have. And in fact, they can click on a link within Bamboo HR to navigate to the respective TalentLMS course. And at the same time, your other Bamboo HR administrators can see how the employees have completed their training in TalentLMS. And in this case, the Bamboo HR admins can see data about training in Bamboo HR. And of course, the learners can always click on the links on Bamboo HR to navigate to the courses in TalentLMS. Let's see how you can connect. So we are in account settings. We are in the basic settings page all the way down and tick enable Bamboo HR integration. What you need, of course, is to be an admin in Bamboo HR, right? And an admin in TalentLMS. You need to fill in here the subdomain of your Bamboo HR account. So for us, for example, let's say that this would be TalentLMS, right? That's a test. And when you're ready, connect. And when you connect, the screen will show you a pop-up where you log in into your Bamboo HR. And that's it. All that you need to do is click connect and then log into your Bamboo HR and the integration will be set up. What happens when the two systems are connected? Automatically, they sync every 24 hours. And when that sync happens, the admins will receive an email that shows what has been synced in Bamboo HR. And of course, when we talk about syncing, we're talking about how many users, and of course, all of the related data that should come with that sync. And another thing as well that you can do is not only rely on this synchronization every 24 hours, but if you want, there will be a button here which says sync, and you can click on it and you can sync on demand. That means that at any given point in time, you push the button, data flows from one system to another, but of course you can leave it alone and it will sync on a daily basis. What else we can do though? Let's go a little bit further up. Under the security section in the same page in account settings, you have the option to enable the API. What is the API? The API is the way that TalentLMS actually connects with your own sites or any other HRIS platform that you might be using that is not Bamboo HR. In fact, you can use the TalentLMS REST library and have your site communicate and exchange data with your TalentLMS domain. You might be wondering, can I use the API myself? Do I know how to do it? If you do, brilliant, you can do it. If not, the responsible team is usually your IT administrator or your software administrator, your systems admin, anybody who configures and sets up the software that you use on a daily basis. That's the person to talk to. Start with your IT team. I'm sure they will be able to do it. In fact, the API key that you can pass to them is right here. So you click enable API, that will be your API key of your account. You provide it to them and they will use that as a connector. And then you can click to download the documentation and you see I do it again on the spot. And when you open that folder up, what you will see is that inside the documentation folder, there is a PDF, which is the documentation. And the documentation of the API actually has all of the different calls that you can use to connect your system with TalentLMS. API calls is actually what is bringing the data from one platform to another. So the documentation with the API key, pass it on to your team, and they will see here that in the user section, they will have lots of different API calls and options to go through. And of course, another thing as well that we have to make sure is that we share on the chat the right resources. So I'm sure that's, Mary is doing that as we speak. But what if you have questions? Well, we are here to help. And especially when we talk about API integrations, anything that is more on the technical side of things, our technical support is available. So within your accounts, scroll all the way up, go to the help section. Of course, you can search here in the knowledge base and look for Bamboo HR, API, anything that you wish. But of course, our team is here. Drop them a message, ideally with a screenshot. They would love you for this, and they will be able to assist. And if you are on the premium or enterprise plan, live support is there for you. So you can start a conversation and get the ball rolling with assistance from support. Now, let me show you another thing though, because that is something that we really take pride in. And we talk about another HRIS system that has been developed by TalentLMS. And we're talking about Talent HR. Now, Talent HR is our newest product, basically, and it is a very simple but modern HRIS system that gets the job done. It helps you with employee onboarding. It tracks time off and leaves that people would get. And of course, it allows you to have the proper data management that you need, and of course, get people analytics, and most importantly, sync with TalentLMS. Of course, we are here to share a product that everybody can use. For the first 25 users, you can use it for free. And then, of course, you can visit our website, talenthr.io, so that way you can see the rest of the options for using Talent HR. But how does it connect? What actually are the steps to connect TalentLMS with Talent HR? Do you need a developer? Do you need an engineer? Do you need your IT? The answer is no. So what you will see here is the way that you can go to the settings within Talent HR, get into the integrations, and then from there, just click on the TalentLMS button. And then remember where your API keys is in TalentLMS. There will be a button, there will be a pop-up basically, that you can insert your API key there, and then you hit connect. It is that easy. You don't need your IT team for that. You can just do it yourself. And in Talent HR, you can have a two-way integration. You can integrate from TalentLMS to Talent HR and vice versa. So you can either choose one way or you can choose both ways for the integration and of course get the related outcome. Now, what you might also notice is that this one also syncs every 24 hours. So you will get a synchronization report as well. And that is something that you can also manually sync on demand without having to wait for the 24 hours to take place. And another thing that you can do with Talent HR, and I'm going to bring this screen forward now. In Talent HR, you can add users to courses directly in your HR system. You don't have to go to TalentLMS for that. So what you can do is go to a specific user's profile, an employee's profile, go to add training, and then you just click on add the course that you want. So you can select one or more than one courses. And that means that when you push the add course button, you will be able to just add the courses to the user profile or the user to the course, the same thing, straight into your Talent HR platform without having to even open TalentLMS. I hope that helps, and I hope that gives you an initiative to try Talent HR as well. So all the information is on the chat, and we are looking forward to answering questions and receiving your feedback about that as well.
Thank you, Theo. So now that we've seen how we can bring our people to TalentLMS, I think it's time to see what our people can do in TalentLMS. So I'm going to share my screen one more time with you. And yes, I'm talking about the user types. At the beginning, we discussed the different roles in the system briefly. So let's see those now in more detail. What we need to do is click on the user types icon here. And what we see on our next page is the default user types that we have in the system: super admin, admin type, trainer type, and learner type. Now, the admins, as mentioned before, are basically the operators of the platform. They have access to all reports, they create branches and groups, they customize the portal and the branches, they are responsible for the user management, setting up notifications, and so on. The difference between a super admin and an admin type is that the super admin is a really powerful user type. No one can edit a super admin. It's so powerful, like Superman. Now, the trainers or instructors are responsible for the courses and their content. They also create live sessions, initiate discussions, they evaluate the users. And of course, we have the learners who are the majority of your users, and their responsibility is to complete the courses they are enrolled in. Now, if you are a super admin or an admin type, you can definitely customize the existing user types or create a brand new user type by clicking this button here, Add User Type. When we talk about customization here, we mean allowing or removing permissions from user types according to our needs. And how is that possible? Well, we will click on the learner type. I'm going to use an existing user type to show you how. So once I click, I can see the different level of permissions for admins, instructors, and learners. But right now, I'm going to adjust permissions on the existing learner type. So I'm going to remove the course catalog and the discussions feature from the learners. And once I'm done, I will click Save, and that's it. Now, in order for me to follow up on that, we have a quick tip for you. So what I'm going to do is go back with the home button. And this time I'm going to click the users. And I'm going to find a learner, a user with the learner type. I'm going to use this tip. And I'm going for Britney Spears. So if I hover here on Britney, you can see that we have this button, log into account. If I click it, right now, I'm impersonating Britney Spears. I'm logged in as Britney Spears. As you can see in her dashboard, the discussions button and the course catalog are removed. So that means that I have adjusted my permissions successfully. And if I want to go back, I will click the revert button and I'm logged in as Eirini, the admin of the system. And how do our people get their user types? Well, as an admin, you are responsible for that. If you add users manually, you can click on the Add User button, and there is a field, the user type here, so you can assign any of the available user types you have in the system. On the other hand, if you're importing users or if your users self-register, then we have an option so you can save time from assigning the user types. So for that, I'm going back again on the account and settings and click on the users tab. And this time I'm going for the default user type here. So if I expand the drop-down menu, I can see all the user types that exist in my system right now. But in this case, we do recommend using the learner type because the default user type works like this. Every time a user has been added in the system, they will be assigned the selected user type here automatically. So this is how you save time. So we do recommend the learner type because security-wise, it's a user type that has limited access to features. And another thing, what about the security of the account? Well, if you click on the password settings here, we have more options like enforcing strong passwords or enforcing users to change their password on first login or after a specific amount of days, or even lock the account after an amount of failed attempts for specific minutes. And with that said, I'm going to get back to Theo because I sense that he might have some more tricks for us.
That's right. I have a few tips that I feel that will help everybody navigate around user management in TalentLMS. Let me just have a look at my screen share again. And here we go. I hope you can see my screen. So let's start with one of the frequently asked questions that we get, which inspired us to share this tip with you. Is there a way to allow people to directly sign up so you don't have to do an import, but at the same time, make sure that they only use their professional email address? The answer is yes. Let's go together in account and settings, and staying on the basic settings page, if we navigate a little bit further down and look at the security part, what you need to look at is restrict registration to specific domains. That is what you need to check. And then, of course, in the field here, just put the domain name that you use in your emails. For example, here in TalentLMS, we use talentlms.com. So if I set here to be talentlms.com, That means that anybody who directly signs up in my account, of course, they will only have to use their TalentLMS email address and nothing else. Otherwise, they will not be able to sign up. This is very useful for anybody who wants to still allow the freedom to people to create their own profiles and put their own details on the system themselves, but at the same time, make sure that they do it using the email address that they need to use on their day-to-day work basis. Another thing as well, the custom fields. Let's go all the way down and let's look at the custom user fields option. Have you ever had any information that you would like to add to the user profiles and you were wishing that there was a field for it? This is the answer to that. You can create whatever type of information field you need. For example, we have created location, department, manager name. For example, let's create a job title. So I'm going to add a field here and type job title. And of course, I can leave it as a text so people can type what their job title is, or you can explore the rest of the different type of content that you can allow them to have. But let's stick with text for now. You can make it mandatory, so everybody has to fill that in, or maybe not. And of course, it's always a good idea to have it visible in reports, so that way you can pull data based on that. Especially, you can do it using custom reports, which are available on Plus, Premium, and Enterprise. And of course, you can use that as filters if you export on Excel the rest of the report and then work on those files themselves. The idea here is that visible on reports can really help you sort things out based on the fields, but also gives you more options when you build custom reports. And the custom fields can also be used in notifications and in certifications, so you can really just add exactly the information for the users that you want. And the tip here, additional to that, if you integrate with your HRIS system and they have specific fields there that you would like to transfer over information in TalentLMS, for example, they have the supervisor or the manager or the departments, or for example, the hire date. This is something that you can create here as well. Create the corresponding custom fields, custom user fields, exactly with the name and the formatting that you have in your HRIS. And then, of course, when you synchronize, you will be able to see the information transferring from one platform, one field to the TalentLMS custom field that you have created. And one final thing as well. Actually, before the final thing, let me share another thing as well. This is something that just came to mind, and it's something that we have been, again, using a lot, especially for anybody who is on plans that support branches. Branches are independent training environments that you can have, where you can have your environment with your courses, your administrators, your instructors, and your learners. And inside that branch, inside that separate sub-portal of yours, they will only have access to the contents that they need to have there. And of course, people in the branch can behave differently than people in your main account. And of course, that means that they can sign up in a different way. For example, let's say that we are offering training to our partners and vendors so they can become experts in our products and, of course, share them with our customers. I have a vendor and supplier branch here, so I want my vendors and suppliers to be separate from my main account. But in my main account, I want to manually add people because I want to be the one doing the imports. But in the vendor and supplier branch, I don't mind if they actually sign up themselves, if they sign up using the direct method, because I don't know who they want to train, I don't know their email addresses, and I don't want to do the work of collecting and importing. So in the branch itself, if we go further down in the user section here, you can see that the sign up method can be very different. So maybe in my account, I have manually in my main account, but here I have direct as a sign up method. And of course, I can choose whichever verification type I prefer for them to have, exactly as Eirini suggested at the beginning. And this is very important to remember that each branch can have its own settings. And if you want to take it up a step as well, and even use my tip before, you can even restrict registration to specific domains just for that branch. So you can see how many options you can have to customize and differentiate the sign-up methods of the branch versus your main account. And another thing as well, let me show you how you can use the reverse of the import, which is the export. Now, you might be wondering, this webinar is about adding users, not taking away users. But with the export, you're not taking anything away. You just download a copy of the user data you have. So let's go to the import and export, and let's look at the export at this point. And what we want to focus on is the type. Of course, I'm going to choose Excel. That's what I usually do. And then hit export. What we do is we download a copy of the data on the template that actually corresponds to the data that we have. So if I show you what I have downloaded just now, apart from seeing like lots of test users here that everybody's playing with, you will see that in my users especially tab, I have, apart from login, first name, last name, and email, user type, etc., I have the bio. I have the status, if that is a user which is active or inactive, language, custom fields, and especially custom fields, because it's a good practice if you want, even if you just add yourself in the portal or just 2-3 people to work with you, add your custom fields, have them ready, and then do an export. By doing the export, you have the option to populate a ready-made Excel file with all of the fields that you need. So that way you save your updated information, you add more users, of course, and then you go back to the import and you just drag and drop imports as we did before. And now you have all of the data with the Excel file that matches your account, and you don't have to build it from scratch using the sample. I hope that helps. And I think that's already answers a couple of questions, maybe Christina's, maybe Frank's, but of course, we're here to answer more.
Well, thank you, Theo, for all your tips and tricks you shared with us. And right now, I think it's a good time to head into our Q&A. Thank you, Mary, for all the support through our presentation. But let's answer some questions live. So the first question comes from Erica. Is there a way to deactivate multiple people at once, similar to how you import users? Yes, we do have a way. So I'm going to share my screen with you so we can see that together. I hope that you all see my screen right now. So a quick way for you to do that is to head here on the users. So here you have the list of users that you have in your portal. So if I hover right next to the names, you can see that small check boxes appear. So if I click and continue clicking the users that I want to deactivate, the mass actions button will show here on the top. And if I click it, I have the option to deactivate them en masse and also delete them if for some reason I want to delete the users. So this is a quick way for you to deactivate multiple people at once by using the mass actions button from here. Next question. Our next question comes from Jack. I want my admins to know the details of each user who is signing up to the site. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. And for this, I'm going to use the notification feature that can be found here under the events engine. So if you want your administrators or maybe specific users to be aware of all the details of each user that has been signing up to the site, what you need to select here is the event on user sign up. And of course, select the recipient. It could be the super admins, branch admins, or even specific recipients. I'm going to go with the super admins now. And now the body box appears where I will write the template of my email. The first line is always the subject of the email. And of course, I can continue writing the template. The smart tags are also here to help me populate each user's details on that email. So you can definitely use the smart tags for the first name or the user email or maybe the user login or even the custom user fields that you might have into your profiles. Give your notification a name that will show on admins to identify what this notification is about. Click create notification and that's it. So this is how you can automate that a little bit and save time. Now, there is another question, and I think this one is for Theo and comes from Jack. In the Bamboo HR integration, I think I saw a setting about inactive users. Can you explain? So let me stop sharing and get back to Theo for that.
Yes, I can. And Jack, you have a very good eye for the details. I'm very happy to see that. Let me just share my screen and show you a little bit more about that feature. So If you can see my portal right now, let's go to account settings again, and let's go all the way down to Bamboo HR. And what we want to talk about is this little tick box that you noticed: add new users as inactive. Do we take it? Do we not? So by default, that box is unchecked. So that means that when you have unchecked that, everything works without any delay. It means that all the users from Bamboo HR with an active status, work or home email, and the hire date will be imported in TalentLMS as active users. And an active user in TalentLMS is a user that occupies a user slot. They can log in anytime they want, and they are able to get courses, see training, and operate in the account as you would expect them to. Now, also, when this box is unchecked, so the default setting, inactive users in TalentLMS that match an eligible Bamboo HR user profile based on a work or home email will be activated and synced. So basically, it means that any eligible user for synchronization, that user will be added in TalentLMS or updated, and they will be able to access the platform, take the training, and work as usual. If you check it though, this is what happens. When you check this button, the Bamboo HR integration will still work. Nothing stops. However, it will prevent inactive users in TalentLMS by automatically being activated when the next time of the sync happens. And most importantly, any new user from Bamboo HR will be added in TalentLMS as an active user. What is the benefit of that? Well, let's say that you want to set everything up right now, but you want to inform your people about TalentLMS and launch the training operation that you have 1 month later. So it's a good practice then to tick the box, add the new people as inactive. And of course, when you're ready, you can activate them manually by going to the user list and just activate all your users. So that is something that anybody who wants to set everything up now, but then launch everything later, that is for you. If you want to set everything up right now and have it working on the spots without any delay, leave the default box setting as unticked, and then you will be able to actually just sync the users daily and of course have them access everything on the spot. I hope that helps, and I hope that gives you an idea of how you can program and schedule your launch from TalentLMS and still not interrupt your Bamboo HR integration.
Thank you, Theo. So let's get back into our Q&A. We have a question from an anonymous attendee. So is your setup as manual sign up? Does that mean that you cannot do direct? The drop-down menu implies that you're choosing one or the other. Well, at this case, basically you select what the sign up method is in order for you to specify how you would like your users to be added in the system. Let me share my screen really quick so we can see that together. So our anonymous entity is referring to this field here, the sign up method. So if you select the manual method, this will vanish, let's say, the sign up button from the login page of your portal. So it's not possible for a user to self-register. But if you click on the direct method, this will allow users to self-register. However, even if you select the sign up direct method, this will not prevent you as an admin to add users manually. So you can do both. Even if you have the direct method on, you can still import users or add them one by one by clicking this button here. So it's up to you, basically, if you want also to allow users to self-register to your portal. I hope this will help. Now, let's get into another question. Comes from Roland. Does the import work for only one tab of the template at a time? Well, essentially, it will work for all the templates. So if you want to import and mass data, you can use 2 or 3 tabs, depending on the information you want to import. But we do recommend to do that one tab at a time, one seat at a time. And maybe in order for you to try it out and see how it works, you could try it with 1 or 2 lines first. And if it works fine, then you can fill in the rest of your data and import. It will work, but we do recommend, just to be on the safe side, to do a different tab if you want to import users and a different tab if you want to import users to courses, for example. Then I'm going to a question from Sid, and this one will be for Theo. Sid has basically asked quite a few questions about the import. So let me tell those questions to you, Theo. The first one is, will the system create an error message if there's a problem with one of the import users? And the second question is, what happens if one of the import users is already registered on the system?
Good question, Sid. So let's actually do it together because we're not here just to answer. We're here to show you exactly what happens. So let's go back to the import again. And, I have this little file that we used before. So technically, I'm going to try to import users that already exist. So let's do it. So upload completes, click the import button to proceed. Moment of truth. Right. So those users, you see, have not been imported again. So you don't create any duplicates. You just update the users. So when you import a user that already exists, any change that you have made to them, they will update. But at the same time, I didn't make any changes to mine. So technically nothing has been updated. So when you have the same users, and I'm talking about username and email, this means that those users will be updated, but of course, you will not have any duplicates being created. But if you have something different, for example, if there is an error on the email that the system might not recognize, or if you have something different that again might cause the import not to work, you will see a related message, and then you know what time it is, support time. So on the help section, contact support, drop them a message, and they will be able to assist. Remember, especially when you see an error, just send them a screenshot and they will be able to navigate you through. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Theo. And let's get into a different question from Lucina, which is related with ILTs. And of course, it's a live Q&A, so you can ask whatever questions you have. So let's get to Lucina. In an ILT course, is there a way to allow users to choose which sessions they want to attend from a list of dates? For example, April sessions or July sessions. Well, yes, it is possible for you to create live sessions and be a little bit more flexible with your users. Give them the option to select which dates will suit best. So I'm going to share my screen and create a live session really quick with you. So I will switch as an instructor because, as we said on our today's webinar, instructors are responsible for our courses. And I'm going to an existing course. Let's go to this one, how to hire and train remotely. And basically what we need to do is click add here, instructor-led training. And on this page, we have the calendar. So of course, let's give our session a name. I'm gonna name that live session, July dates, maybe something like that. And I'm going to go for July. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to select, let's say, the 12th of July. So I'm going to give my session a name. Let's call that live 12th of July. I'm going to keep the date and the time as it is. The host will be me, of course. And I think I'm going to create a live webinar and click create a new webinar. The duration is here, a description, and click add session. The next thing I'm going to do is give an alternative for my user. So I'm going for the 19th. So I'm just going to click again, and I'm going to name that live session 19th of July. Again, I'm going to keep everything the same, create a new webinar, and click add session. And right now I have two different dates for this ILT. If I click save and view on the next page, I have a preview of how this registration page will look like for my user. So this is what the user gets. It gets two different dates for one live session. So it's up to them to select which date suits better so they can register. And of course, if they register in one date, this button here would say register for the users. Of course, if they register in one date, the other one will disappear for the screen. So this is how you give the alternatives for your users. There is a webinar that we did in the past with Theo. It's called Training in a Virtual Classroom, and you can find that on our webinar page. I think that Mary will be able to post the link in the chat. So in that webinar, we discuss about the live sessions and all the different options that we have when we're setting up live sessions into the system. I hope this will help, but of course, if you have more questions into that, you can get in touch with us at trainingteam@talentlms.com. Another question that this one will be for Theo. Can I choose how many custom fields I can sync with SSO?
That's a good question. Well, yes, you can, and actually you need to. So let me show you exactly what we're looking at. So I'm going to share my screen again. And if we look at the account and settings right there, and we jump into the users, what you need to remember is that the single sign-on is a place where you can not only just set the same credentials like your any other software and allow users to log in using those, but also you can transfer additional information from your IDP provider to TalentLMS. So for example, I'm going to have a look at the SAML here, but that is something that you might want to explore for OpenID as well. So if we look at the integration here, what you will find is that there is a custom field space right there. In your IDP provider, you can add values to the user profiles, and that is something that you can transfer over here, provided that you have the exact same name and format of the custom field in TalentLMS with the way that it appears in your IDP. But it's not done yet. You have to select here, exactly as that question prompted. You have to select here which custom fields you want to sync over from your IDP to Talent. So if we click, for example, and we say department, you see, I can just click on it. And now the department field from my IDP with the related user information, of course, will also sync here, and the information will be visible to any user's profile that syncs over. Or if I want to do it with manager, I can also select here. But then in TalentLMS, I have other custom fields as well. I have location, and I think that I have something else as well that I can't remember right now. But the idea is that job title. But the idea is that the location and the job title custom fields will not sync over because only those two are selected here to provide the related information. So yes, you can select which custom fields you will sync over just by selecting them here. If you don't select them here, no information will sync from one place to another when it comes to custom fields.
Thank you, Theo. Now, the next question is again about custom user fields, and it comes from William. For custom user field, are there any plans to create a tile selection feature in addition to dropdown and checkbox? I think I'm going to need more details into that, what you mean about the tile selection feature. And I need you to send us an email to trainingteam@talentlms.com so we can check with our product team and, of course, get back to you with information about the feature that you're looking for. So we expect your email soon. Then there's another question comes from Violet, but what if the limit of active users is reached with those self-registrations? Well, in that case, the user sign up button will be hidden from the login page. And just to remind you that, let me bring my previous URL page here. So basically, once you have reached the limit of your users, this sign up button will no longer exist on your login page. And of course, even if you have branches, this button will also disappear, let's say, from the brand's login pages too. Next question comes from Maya. You said that admins are responsible for sharing the credentials. Is there a way to do that automatically and save time? Yes, there is a way to do that. Again, we're going for the notification and the events ending. Only this time, the event we will use is on user create. And again, the recipient at this point will be the related user because the users that we create need to receive their credentials. So again, the first line is the subject of our email we will write down our template, and we can use the smart text here to add, to populate each user's username or password in case we have already created the passwords, or maybe we can add the password, create password URL that will allow users to create their password on their own. And there is time for one more question, and this one is for Theo, again from Violet. Can we assign groups with SSO login?
Yes, and thank you for bringing that into our attention, because that's something that works exactly like the custom fields that we showed before. So if we go back into the account settings and users, and especially if we look at the single sign-on, for example, I'm going to stick with SAML, that's my example today. What you see here is the group option that we have. Now, what exactly that means? In your IDP provider, there is a group variable that can be assigned to a single string value or an array of string values for more than one group name. So basically, in your IDP provider, in your SSO, you don't create groups and put the users in there. You just add a value that is named the name of the group that you want to create, and that is assigned to the users as a value. So you don't create groups there, you just create values that have your group names. Now, in TalentLMS, you create groups, and those groups should have the exact same name as well with the values that you have added in your IDP. And what happens? Like the custom fields here, for example, let's see if I have any salespeople. I don't think I have any group sales here, but of course you can type here the values that you want to transfer over from your IDP to Talent. And if you have the exact groups created in TalentLMS with the values of groups that you have in your IDP provider, the users, the moment that they sign in for the first time with SSO, they will be able to just be assigned to the related groups in TalentLMS, and of course get enrolled to the related courses from the groups that you have created in TalentLMS. So what's the order here? In TalentLMS, you create a group that matches the values that you have in your IDP provider. In TalentLMS, you put the courses into the group. And then when you sync over, when actually you do the SSO configuration here, and you have the same values, group values in your users, then those will be enrolled in the related groups in TalentLMS, and of course, get the related courses. So that's the way to work with groups. And you have to select whatever you type here, whatever you select here, that will only be the related groups that will be syncing. Otherwise, you can have 20 different groups in TalentLMS and you only want to sync 5. Those 5 will sync right here.
Thank you, Theo, one more time. And I think that's a wrap. So thank you all for participating and posting your questions. I know that you will have more questions, so feel free to get in touch with us and send us all of your questions to trainingteam@talentlms.com. And of course, we love your feedback. So our survey link is just posted on the chat. It takes less than a minute, and we love to hear your thoughts and your ideas of what you expect from us for future webinars. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Mary, for being on fire today and helping us and supporting our attendees with all of their questions. And thank you, Theo, for helping us too with this presentation.
Thanks, Eirini, for sharing anything about users today.
And we hope to see you on our next webinars. And as we said before, we have our webinar page set up on our website. It's talentlms.com/forward-webinars, where you can find all of our past webinars and register for the upcoming ones. Again, thank you very much. And until next time, happy training.